Yeah, thanks, Nico. Just to reflect back on Cincinnati, obviously a heartbreaking ending to another game where there's a lot of good individual performances, but collectively, we let ourselves down in the defensive box. So that hurts. No time to feel bad for ourselves. Have to regroup quickly. As hard as it sounds, we're going to need the fans to be 100% behind us now, behind the players as we go into a tough game against Charlotte. Third game in a week is always tricky, but we know that the fans will have our back, and we know that we're capable of a strong performance. So again, it hurts right now. We're not happy with the way that the results have gone. A lot of things have gone against us, but at the same time, we know that we have the quality to get on a run in this league as we sit with a point total that we're not happy with, and still half of a season left to make things right.
Thanks, Jim. John Tannenwald.
Thanks, Nico. Jim, at a moment like this where there is naturally pressure on everybody, do you change anything about how you do your job coaching? And how much pressure do you feel on yourself?
There's always pressure in all pro sports, so you always want to win first and foremost. Winning cures and masks everything, so that is number one. Again, players and staff recognize that we haven't won in recent weeks, so naturally that does put a little more urgency on things. We know we haven't performed the way that we're capable of. We also have perspective and recognize the reality too that when 5 of your top starters aren't here, it's going to be difficult. That's going to make things harder, just as it would for any Major League Soccer team. If you take 5 of their top guys out, it's not going to look the exact same. So we have to recognize that we have to fight our way out of it. It starts with getting one result, and if we do things the right way at home against Charlotte, that can be something that starts us on the right direction.
You had CJ only on your bench on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Where is he now in the pecking order? He doesn't have a first team contract yet, but obviously he's got a lot of promise. So and you've also got
Yeah, you've seen him have good.
young Tenon Vasquez and a young the young Tenon Vasquez, a young Tenon Sullivan, and CJ. How do all these pieces fit together?
Yeah, so look, CJ's done a good job with Union 2 games. He's training with us, with the first team, and shown really well. So you reward him with a call-up as we're a little bit shorthanded. The Union 2 games and minutes will still continue. We'll want him to dominate those games. That'll be the next progression, is then to become a first-team player and get rewarded with minutes here. So happy with where CJ's at. You guys have seen through a lot of the goals at Union 2, he's involved in them with that early service that he gives behind a back line. A really talented young player who is pretty fearless and relentless with his attacking and defending, which we really like. But still, like the other names, Vasquez, Sullivan, still guys that are working hard and getting their first experience with the first team training each and every day. And that's how you get better, and that's how you do develop. I know everybody wants it to be immediate, Jonathan, but those guys are, I think, in a really good spot right now, and really showing the staff that they're getting closer and closer to those first team minutes.
Good, Andy.
Hey Jim, how are you?
Good.
Excuse me. How do you balance right now the winless run, but also knowing half the conference gets into the postseason? So how do you kind of balance the messaging of, yeah, we're in a rut, but literally 2 results swing, and it's completely different because of how the playoffs are formatted?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have analyzed it, and you've seen the games that we've dropped points. You've seen the maybe ties that could be wins, and the ties that turned into losses for us. And there's a lot of points that we left out there. But if you go as recently as the last 2 games, you go Miami, Cincinnati, as horrifically painful and unique the ways that we lost them, and as the coach I take responsibility for that. those are the two best teams in our conference, right? And in each game, we're certainly not that far off, and we're certainly not that far off while missing, like I said, 5 key starters. So again, that's the message to the group. We're close. We have to have a breakthrough play. Maybe it's a big block, a big save, a big goal that maybe changes the momentum and someone gives us a spark in life. Not dissimilar to what Ty Baribo and Bueno gave us in our last game. That should have led us to at least a point in Cincinnati. Those efforts from those two players who stepped up in a huge way. But right now, like I said, everything tends to go negative and unlucky against us, and we have to kind of flip that, and we're the only people that can do that.
Talk about Ty for a second. The way he, I guess, partners Mikel compared to the way Julian would. How do you see that partnership growing, and what do you see with with Wednesday as the foundation of how Ua and Baribo are going to kind of operate off of each other out of the diamond base?
Yeah, Ty's obviously a different player than Julian. And look, hard decisions went against Ty for a while, but like a true professional, he stepped up and did a great job. And I told him that today again. So I'm happy for him. Ty, I was most impressed with just how much he was willing to fitness-wise run and press up until the 90th minute of this past game. Sometimes that's not easy, especially when you don't have the minutes in your legs, but he really showed maximum effort and gave everything for the team. That's something that we'll need to continue now during this stretch in the absence of Julian. I think him and Mikel will only get sharper and sharper together as more games and time goes by. You can see that Ty is comfortable coming underneath Mikel, and vice versa. Sometimes Mikel can come underneath Ty, and finding that balance will be something I think we'll get better with time and reps, and especially game minutes.
Joe Lister.
Jim, you kind of touched on this earlier, but when the team is in a rut like this, how do you convince the players and the staff that the next game is going to be the one where something turns around?
Yeah, it's challenging. There's no question about it. But when the players look around, yes, there's some guys that aren't here, but we also have been through some battles together and won big games together. So you can lean back on that. You might need an unlikely source or unlikely player to step up and have a big moment in the game. That always is what it takes to win a big game, or to win a game that maybe you're not as expected to win. So that's kind of going to be the mindset and the mentality of the group. We've had good, healthy film sessions, discussions with each player, and we still have a really good group with a strong mentality. The one thing that the group has never done is quit. This group will always fight. They show resiliency to come back in games. And again, I feel for them though, emotionally as a coach, as a leader, and as someone that's close to all of them. It hurts me because when they give that effort, you want it to be rewarded, and it's hard walking away with 0 points in the game like Cincinnati.
Thanks, Nico. Jim, in the days since you got back from Cincinnati, have you had any further conversations with Marcus Anderson?
Look, Marcus had, first of all, he's a young player. He's still just coming back off of another little injury, working on his fitness. He had a tough play, and it's a young player that won't be defined by one play. Again, we say it all the time. We win as a team, we lose as a team. Do you show maybe some decisions that could have been a little bit better, and talk through some ideas of what maybe we could have done in that situation? But having said that, after his mistake, maybe a reaction to take a foul would be good. Maybe just go the corner flag. You give all the different options. But having said that, Jonathan, as you know, 10 more things happen before the goal goes in the back of the net. So again, it's not just the one play, and he's going to be a young player that learns from this instance. It's a teachable, coachable moment for him, and I think he'll grow and get better because of it. But it's certainly not just one guy's fault.
In terms of the coachable moment aspect of it with a young player, do you say to him, I'm going to send you right back out there and give you a chance to make up for it, or do you the depth chart for a minute and say there needs to be a consequence?
There's two approaches. I'm not going to give you mine right now, just because we have a game tomorrow, and we might need we're going to need everybody to be ready as always. So for me to sit here and rule him in or out or starting or off the bench, I just doesn't benefit us right now. But certainly, Jonathan, it's something we've talked about and how to handle it. And I think he will improve from that moment.
John Zapata.
Thanks, Nico. Hey, Jim. Sticking with the young players, kind of wanted to talk about Oliver Zenla. Obviously, a tough challenge, trying to fill in for Andre Blake. But how do you keep his confidence up? Obviously, these results are not all on him, but obviously a tough outing on Wednesday against Cincinnati. So how do you keep his confidence up?
Yeah, it's tough. And again, we'll analyze every position, and we'll look at the positives, the pros, the cons. What can we maybe improve on? So, again, Oliver's no different. He's had some big saves for us. He's had some tough goals against for sure. For whatever reason this year, we've conceded a ton from outside the box, some from really far outside the box. We can defend better as a team, certainly, in moments. When you lose, and you guys have heard me say this, when you lose that cohesion of the group, and it's stop-start, and guys are in, guys are out, guys are away, they're hurt, you lose a little bit of that stability. And Oliver hasn't had the opportunity to play with us at our best, in our best form, with the key guys on the field, and it makes it harder. You see more shots, you have to put out more fires, it becomes more difficult. So just like everybody else, we'll analyze Oliver the same. He's still a goalkeeper that we believe in, one that can improve, certainly, and has probably, unfortunately, played way more minutes than we anticipated in Andre's absence. He can't predict the injury, but certainly is going to get better as years and time and reps continue to accumulate.
Thanks, Jim.
Julian.
Thanks, Nico. Hi, Jim. With this being the second time facing Charlotte this season, what lessons can you take from that first matchup?
Yeah, you're very familiar with them just because we played them recently, 5 weeks ago about. So, again, it's a team that is very well coached, very well organized. It's hard to break down. I believe lead the league in clean sheets, so they don't give up a lot of chances. Once they get back in their 2 blocks of 4, they don't give up hardly anything. So we'll have to find a way to hit them in a transition type of moment, or perhaps win a ball higher up the field close to their goal and hit them before they get set up, because once they're set up, they have great goalkeeping, they have a really strong back 4, and there's not a lot of space in their group. It's a really, really good team, well coached, well organized. You don't see a lot of the big flashy names that Miami or Cincinnati have with Lucho Acosta, but they are really together and fight for everything. So that's a credit to the coach. And Dean Smith has done an amazing job with them, being hard to play against, and I really like the defensive foundation that they have.
Final question, I go to Joe Tansey.
Ask this, is there a new Andre Blake update?
Yeah, so Andre's progressing well. I think it'll be still a couple weeks before he's back out on the field training again, and as soon as that happens, we'll accelerate it as quickly as possible and in a smart way get him back in the goal, which is really important to the team. We've missed him, but we don't want to rush things too much, but probably still at least a couple weeks before he's back out on the field training.
Last one for Jonathan.
Can I get a clarification on that, Jim? A couple of weeks would presumably put him out of the Copa America, and there's no point in Jamaican fans getting hopes up.
I don't want to say never, because again, Andre, please put this part in there. Andre is superhuman, so you never know. And I don't want to damper or put expectations in the eyes of the Jamaican fans. So I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be, guys. But yeah, you can piece together some timelines. Probably still at least another 2 weeks before he's out on the field training again.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.